honey, if you don't show up, somebody else will, and by 1 o'clock it gone. Like, no joke. So you have to wake up early, buy the glue and start calling the people right away. Hi guys, welcome to another video. For those who are new here, my name is Zara Marie. It's nice to have you. This is our adult-ish series for my regular subscribers. Thanks for coming. My love no bad. New members, remember to subscribe. Stay over here. There's a lot to learn, a lot to grow into as we kind of try to figure out what we do together. So if you're interested, just keep on watching. This is actually a vlog. I'm spending the lockdown with my mommy, and she hiding from the camera always. So, but I really wanted to talk today about, I'm trying to stabilize this thing. After I posted my apartment tour video, my apartment cleaning situation, I got a lot of questions about renting in Jamaica, what it's like, renting in Kingston or whatever. So I'm going to go through those questions in this vlog or video. I don't know if it will turn out in a vlog or not. We'll see. Alright, so I'm in the kitchen and I know I always do something in this adulting thing, but there are some questions that I was asked and I want to explore them because I had to find them out, like, by the way and stuff like that. Remember saying, and guys, I always give this disclaimer, I'm not the expert in this. Anyways, so one of the first questions is somebody asked, what are some tips, advice would you give to somebody who is interested in renting? And that's a very broad question because I know like a piece of advice I can give. It's not just one thing. But I think one of the biggest things you should ask yourself is why do you want to rent somewhere, right? Is it because you need to relocate for work? Is it because you have a major project that you're working on and you need to be in a space by yourself? Is it because this is where you'll be more productive? Because if you have those reasons, then it will be easier for you to kind of justify some of the other things that come with renting. If it's just because you want to show up with your friend them, just because you feel like that's what you need to do right now in your life, but you're not in the space where you should do it, but because you just feel like, well, life I run you down and you need to be doing this, you know, you're a bigger man and you need to move out to your parents' house, or if you're living with roommates or whatever, you need to leave, but you're not in the space too. If it's all of them reasons there, like the vain reasons, I wouldn't recommend it, right? And that was something I was looking into because I remember at one point when I couldn't find anywhere, I was ready to take the bus. I was like, okay, I'm going to take the bus from Clarendon. Enough people do it, them not dead. I'm going to be alright. And it was because I could not justify some of the cost. And you guys would have known from the last video that there were certain places I was just not willing to live because, you know, I'm just not used to it. So my mother not grow me if catch up certain places. So I was just so uncomfortable with some of the little matches boxes. And then I realized that my apartment is not big. It's very small. So can you imagine some of the other very small spaces that people were renting for like a huge amount of money? That's the first thing. The second thing you must consider is your budget. What do you have to spend? Are you getting contributions from anywhere else? Do you have other sources of income? And can you actually afford to, what can you actually afford to rent? Because your budget will actually help to direct you into the spaces that you need to go mentally. Is it that you're willing to compromise and share a room with somebody, share facilities with other people? Is it that you're willing to live at a certain place? Because you know, if you're living, it has to do, you won't have to think about, hold on, I'm going to feel on it. Yeah, so you think about the budget, because the budget will really help you to decide where you can live, what you can afford. And you know, some of we have champagne taste and bag juice budget. We're not telling a lie, let's go. Me one of them. I don't have like a really big budget, but my taste them, we can't afford to sell. We just can't. So you know it already. But you have to be honest with yourself and you budget, and of course you have to factor in the cost overall. So the fact that you have to pay 2 months rent up front, and possibly you have to buy stuff for the place. So you think about what your overall budget of moving out will be. So it's not just the rent, but all the additional costs that come with the rent. So what would be the additional cost? Cost for decor. You're thinking about, if sometimes your budget will help you to decide, are you going to be going into a furnished place, are you going to be going into an unfurnished place? I don't know when I really use cutting board and then something like, you know. Are you going to get somewhere furnished or unfurnished? Are you going to get something uptown, downtown? Are you going to get something in a student area? So all of them, something there. The budget will help you to decide. And then of course you have to go buy some shower curtain, maybe a sheet, because maybe you never, you know, there's certain things that you're going to have to buy, or you can get them from your parents' house to cut cost. The best place is to shop at your parents' house. Yes, my mother have everything. She have three of everything. So is it tomorrow when we leaving? Wednesday when I'm leaving, I just get my little shopping bag. Where should I? So I just get one of these and just go in the cupboard and just pack up. Just pack up. But she buy try everything 6, and you know. So yeah, so you can, that's one of the things that you can save. And I've also seen that people recommend that, this is, I never know this because of course no. So people recommend that you have 6 months worth of living expenses saved. Now if you're going to be going into your first job, you're not gonna have 6 months of living expenses saved. So especially if you're Jamaican, yeah, you're not gonna have that saved, but you should still have some sort of cushion fund, I like to call it, something just in case, especially with COVID, and these times are so unpredictable. Anything can happen and you don't want to be on the road if something happens, you know. And like if tomorrow your employer decides we're going to close down because we can't afford to pay the people them and we can't afford to cut costs, then you shouldn't be left homeless. You must have something in place. And that's why it's so important to factor in all of them something here before you decide to say, listen, I'm ready to live by myself. But of course it's kind of unrealistic, and that is why in the first couple of months of working, I was advised pretty early to ensure that you have your little savings put aside, so that when the rainy day come, you don't really wet up too much, you understand? So that's the other thing when we think about tips moving out. What the next thing? Oh, right now in the hunting process, this was something that really saved me. In the hunting process, there were 2 places I looked. One, Jamaica Classifieds online, and 2, the real Sunday Gleaner. And for the Sunday Gleaner to get the best spot, the best places, you have to buy it Sunday morning early, wake up like 6 o'clock, and you're going to go into the location that you're trying to find. So if you know you want to find somewhere in Kingston, if you're living in country anywhere, St. Catherine, St. Catherine not country, St. Anne, Clarendon, Manchester, anywhere outside of the corporate area.
Everything I say, country boy, you're running up and down.
You're going to find your way inside to Kingston and you're going to buy the Gleaner. So you see, when you buy the Gleaner early in the morning, you sit down and you call the people them. So when the people them say we're having a viewing today, you show up, because baby, honey, if you don't show up, somebody else will, and by 1 o'clock it gone. Like no joke. So you have to wake up early, buy the Gleaner, and start calling the people right away, right? Like I don't like call people too early, so it's kind of not polite, right? So you call them in the like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, them hours there, but like 9 o'clock. Don't make like 10 o'clock latest. You start making those calls, and when you make those calls, yes, they say, can you come in for a viewing? And you say, yes, I'm right around the corner, and you just kind of show up. Because if you don't do that, other people, that's whole like overpopulation work. And I mean, it's nothing good enough, it's nothing for us to be proud of, but as a little work, Like a work, like a work then I didn't place there. I don't think it's the same for some of the other places, the other parts outside of Kingston. I think the demand is just so super high in Kingston that that's one of the tactics that I know have been used. I don't know if it's the same thing. You can comment below. People who have rented outside of Kingston, is it the same thing where you kind of have to run? It's like a race, you understand? Yeah. The other thing, mommy, mother, turn that down a little bit, please. Thank you, appreciate it. So the other thing you must consider is, what are your non-negotiables? And I know I say this all the time, whether or not we're talking about like people, friendships, see it come up again in this whole situation. What are your non-negotiables? Because it will help to direct you. For me, I knew I never wanted a shared space, so I'm not even gonna look on places with it. Saves so much time. I did a lot of searching online, but I never did a lot of in-person searching because I was very passionate about not wanting to share a space. So if that's a non-negotiable for you, you know, say anywhere that's a shared space, you're just not going to go, right? And you will also know that there are certain non-negotiables that you have to pay more for. So if you're very high and fancy and you have to have a place with a pool because, you know, you reach a place in life where you feel like you need a pool, then you don't know, say you only go look for places with a pool, and that's your non-negotiable. So you know that your budget going to have to look like all 1,500 US and 1,200 US and 800 US and then money there. You understand? So if you don't have that, and if the place don't have that, you want to go. Your non-negotiables also help you to identify the areas that you're willing to live in for certain reasons. So for instance, if you want somewhere close to Halfway Tree because you work in the vicinity of Halfway Tree and you want to walk to work, then you wouldn't bother go all the way down to Malines Road because Malines Road would be a little bit out of the areas that you would normally want to work, right? So think about your non-negotiables. So we did why, we did budget, we did non-negotiables. Oh, for the budget too, you want to also, I know this kind of scramble, but you know how this adulting thing goes, we still try to figure it out. So these videos, going to look like we still try to figure it out. You want to also think about whether you want the rent to include bills. So do you want it to be a flat, let's say you have a budget of $50,000 for instance, do you want that $50,000 to be 50,000 including light, water, internet? Because that will be different for you if, you know, depending on what you're thinking about. So think about that as well. And I have to come back to the budget again because it is so important, especially if you're renting in Kingston. Please to condition your mind. Kingston prices are ridiculously high. So know that the rent in Kingston is going to be way expensive. It's going to look like it doesn't make any sense, but that's what you get for urban living. That's what you get for overpopulation. It is what it is. If you live in the city, you're going to expect expensive rates. So condition your mind. We cannot afford ourselves. We cannot afford to live the life that we want to live. Big young professionals lament. And if you don't want to see that rant, you can go and click the video that I'm going to try to link somewhere on the screen. But yeah, we can't afford ourselves. So it really is what it is. Think about that. Alright, so the next question now. Somebody asked basically what should they think about, like a checklist for instances where you have found the property and now you need to go into negotiations, because people unfair. Jamaican people thief and wicked. So I mean, people can be a little bit unfair, and sometimes as human beings we often get a little shady with each other. So yes, so you found the ideal property, right? Here are the things that you need to know do when you find the ideal property, because here's how it comes. Let's go to the nitty-gritty. What are the additional charges? Sometimes there are some additional charges that pop up during the rental negotiations. These additional charges could include cleanup fee for you to move in, maintenance fee for this, if them have a garden, and sometimes that is additional maintenance fee. Ask questions. There's something in Jamaica called the strata corporation. And the strata corporation, they actually govern all of the strata complexes. So if you're living in a complex, an apartment complex, there's a high probability that they are part of the strata corporation. Now they have to ensure that they have some maintenance regulations set into their plans. So basically, them have to tell the big people themselves, we can afford to maintain the property. We are paying this fee to be a part of the strata corporation, and you are our governing agency. So this is legit. In layman terms, this is legit. And so sometimes there are hidden fees that comes a part of your plan that you don't even realize. You also have some areas that are common areas, like your elevator. Your outside areas are common areas, and the truth is your landlord who rented you the property. Bless me. Your landlord who rented the property had already signed that agreement to pay XYZ, but then they're not paying it because they would have expected that you are paying it, and it is somewhere in your contract. So that goes to the next thing. After the hidden fees, ask about the hidden fees and look on the contracts. If you are renting a property, ladies and gentlemen, and there are no contracts, go and form your own. If there's no lease agreement, and I'm so serious, if there are no lease agreements, go and get your own lease agreement now, because people are brutal. Request a lease agreement, request signature, right? Go through the contract with a fine-tooth comb. What are the things you should look for in those contracts? You need to look for, hold on, let me put a disclaimer. This does not represent legal advice, blah 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 blah. Put disclaimer here. Yes. So what should you look for in the contract? One, is this a fixed rental, or can I break this lease? Because you see, if it is fixed, you cannot leave there until the next 6 months or 1 year. And if you ever think that you're going to find another property within 2 months and move, you make a sad mistake. Your bread be buttered, because the lease that you would have signed was a fixed lease. So look out for that. Look out for how you can leave the contract. So look for a clause that says termination clause. You see a clause that says termination clause, it will show you what you need to leave. Sometimes they'll tell you that you can't leave the contract until a certain period of time. Sometimes they will tell you that you have to give them a month notice, 2 months notice. Seem like a job? Look for the details in that contract, because trust me, crazy people are mean. They are mean. Also look in the contract to see if you can make any changes to the property. Can you bring in furniture? Can you bring in pets? Look for fire. Oh, what a bother. So yeah, so if a pet is very important to you, want to look out for all those things as well, because suppose you like your puppy, but your puppy can't live there, because I know a lot of apartment complexes, they don't allow pets because the puppy will make noise, and noise will disturb other people. I want you to also ask, I don't know which number we reach, but this is when we're in the stages of actually trying to figure out the property. Who used to live there before? Listen, it's important, because especially in Jamaica, if it was a place where some illegal people were living, possibly that is the address that people will come and hunt down. If it's a place where they used to do illegal activity, you need to ask questions. Why is this place in this community so cheap? What's wrong with it? Look into that. Don't make people mess with your meds, right? Who used to live there before, and what is the word on the street? The best people to ask is in like a man you see around the place. Them always know. Word, man, yes. Them always know what's happening. Always know what to tell you. When you go to the property, turn on the water, turn on the light, so that you can check if it's working. Turn on the water in the shower so that you can see that it is running at the pressure that it is supposed to run, and leave it a little bit. Ask them, do you have a tank? What will happen if water leaves? Does the tank have a pump? Because that happened to me. Our tank never had a pump. And because the tank never had a pump, if you see some fly in the distance, just ignore them. Them don't have no manners. I have to be covering the pot. Yeah. So the tank never had a the tank never had a pump, and because the tank never had a pump, then no water never that come, even when water was here. So that was also a question that I had to ask. I had to deal with that afterwards. I mean, I say, can't bed. Cannot bed. Oh gosh. Mama, soon come here. May I warm up this now? No, you must tired of me. And this video thing. Another question that I really want you to ask: what are the rules and regulations as relates to electric stove versus gas stove? Some people don't want gas stove in them place, and they will tell you that you have to use the electric stove because of whatever regulations. You have to ask about that, because you know that's also another cost that you wouldn't have thought about, that no is added to your bill. Additionally, sometimes you might need a co-signer. So for me, when I got my rental, I needed a co-signer because of course me alone can't justify the fact that I'm not even to get the little work yet, and well, I wasn't confirmed for the job yet, and the little joblet alone could not work because oftentimes they need like 2 or 3 pay slips so they can say that you're not going to run away with their money. So my mother, she had to co-sign for me to show that if I run away she will be there to kind of pick up the slack. So that's also something that you need to think about. Do you have somebody who is willing to co-sign for you? Because or if you're a student, you also need somebody to co-sign because you're not no money. Like, even if you can show your stream of income, sometimes you still might need to get a co-sign, somebody to co-sign. All right, and the other question I got, I think this was the last, because I got some questions and I kind of grouped them. But the food, show me the one little food. So hold on, I'm gonna go feed because the microwave stuff. So I kind of, so even though there are a lot of questions, I kind of group them. So the next question, persons are asking me about decor and organization, and trust me, this is something that you need to think about when you've seen the space, after you've seen the space. So when you see the space, you can have an idea of what you really need. You'll see that there is limited storage in the kitchen, so you're going to need to carry storage bins in, or you're going to need to put some things under your bed, and it will give you an idea. But do not, this is a tip that I learned and it really saved me, don't go ahead and buy like furniture, decor and stuff until after you've lived there for like a week. You can buy like basic things for, you know, just living, but live in the space before you buy this bag of things, because you end up thinking that you need all these things and you really don't. So and when it comes to like decor and organization, be you. If modern and very simple and basic is not you, don't try to push yourself in a box because you feel like that's what's trending right now. Boho chic is another thing that's very trendy. If you're a neutral type of girl or a neutral type of guy, go for it. Don't make anybody stress you out and pressure you into being somebody who you are not, because then you will have to live in this space. So why that something gonna stop? You know, realize that soon come back. The microwaves are so rude, they just keep on buzzing. Yeah, so let me give you an example. So for example, I'm a really girly girl, and from over the years I can maybe put snapshots of what my decor has been for like my dorm rooms over the years. People who have been like watching my blogs and reading my blogs from them time there, they know that I'm a pink person. Now I really wanted to show in my postgraduate room, I really wanted to kind of pull in the fact that I'm still a girly girl, but I was kind of going into like a new era of my life, and I wanted it to be a little bit more material. So I toned down my pink, I brought in more whites and more grays, but then I still put in touches of pink. And for this room, well, obviously this is my room at mommy. Oh, this is the room I grew up in. It used to be pink one time. It used to be like bright pink. Now it is blue periwinkle. I don't even know what this color is, but we just come home one day and see change, and my mother didn't think she wanted to do in here. But the point is that for this room, well, the room, my apartment, my studio now, I knew I wanted it to have this kind of grown vibe. I wanted it to have the white and the gray, but I knew that if I never included some shade of pink, it wouldn't be me and it wouldn't represent me in the best way possible. I wanted to feel comfortable. I want to, when I open my door, I just feel good. So think about that. Organization and decor, kind of live in this space for a while, and you feel what the space needs. Because I don't believe in clutter. I don't know if you're somebody who you like a bag of things, then that's fine, but I don't believe in clutter. And I don't think we not have to be, oh, for some people I know that having a partner, right, so them can go jog, that's also important. So all of them, somebody have to think about what makes you comfortable. So those are the things that I have to talk about this week. If there's anything else that you would like to add, what did you think about when renting your properties? Is there any tip that you'd like to leave? Go ahead and drop that tip in the comments below. We're looking forward to it so that we can learn from each other and grow as we try to really figure out how to adult. Thanks for watching. Bye.